Good evening from wherever you're watching us in Nairobi, Kenya and around the world. This is KBC Prime Edition coming to you live from Broadcasting House. Tonight we're going to look at lots of stories from the Devolution conference all the way in Nakuru to the sports and business coming later on. And also remember, it's Tuesday, so live in studio we have a panel fully constituted, and that comes up on Scorecard. Yari Yambo is on the other side of the studio. Yambo, what should we be expecting on Scorecard tonight?
Thank you so much, Tom. How are you?
I'm well. I'm on top of the world.
Yeah, we are expecting so much, Tom. So we are going to be interrogating the performance of the 13th Parliament. That is the members of the National Assembly and the senators. And in essence, we want to look at some of the motions and bills that have been, either proposed or passed in the National Assembly and also the Senate. And we want to look at, do they resonate with the concerns of Kenyans? So that is what we're going to be interrogating tonight. And the question that we have for our viewers tonight is, has your member of parliament performed to expectations? If yes, explain to us how, and if no, all the same, explain to us how. So, Tom, that is what we're going to be having tonight on the Scorecard, together with my co-anchor, that is O'Brien Kimani, and definitely our able panelists will be with us, so yes.
All right, sounds like a HR function. We are looking forward to that. But before that, let us take a look at a summary of how our stories look like tonight. And it begins right now. A rare unity in the House. Azimio and Kenya Kwanza jointly sponsor a motion seeking to legalize the bipartisan talks.
Tukisema ya kwamba tutaendelea na kuharvest products ya misitu, haimaanishi ya kwamba ati misitu itakuwa inakatwa kiholela. Hiyo haiwezi kufanyika.
President Ruto warns against irresponsible logging, saying the ban lift only allows the harvesting of mature trees. The controversial Worldcoin defied orders to stop data mining. Commission tells Parliament. Lensa Odingo is our sign language interpreter. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle at Mboya24. Straight to our top story. President William Ruto has warned against forest encroachment and irresponsible logging of trees. Speaking while in Njoro when he joined mourners for the funeral service of David Chepkwony, husband to Njoro Member of Parliament Charity Kadhambi, President Ruto said that the lifting of the moratorium on logging only allows logging of mature trees which were decaying in the forests. Timothy Kipnusu opens our coverage with that report.
President William Ruto on Tuesday joined mourners for the funeral service of the husband to Njoro MP Charity Kadhambi, David Chepkwony. It is here that the head of state read a riot act to those involved in the irresponsible logging of trees.
Tukisema ya kwamba tutaendelea na kuharvest products ya misitu, haimaanishi ya kwamba ati misitu itakuwa inakatwa kiholela. Hiyo haiwezi kufanyika. So kama kuna mtu alikuwa anafikiri sasa iko license ya kwenda kukata miti left, right and center, utakutana na sisi.
Ruto was accompanied by his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. At the same time, clarified the government only allow the harvesting of mature trees that are decaying in the forests.
So nataka tukubaliane hivyo, ndio tuhakikisha kwamba tunalinda maslahi ya wananchi, lakini vile vile tunalinda mambo yetu ya mazingira, kwa sababu tusipolinda mazingira hata kupata chakula itakuwa kazi ngumu.
President Ruto at the same time gave a one-year ultimatum to the Lands Ministry to work on a modality that will lead to the lifting of the caveats imposed on the land in some parts of Nakuru County for over a decade.
Ile matatizo ambayo tulikuwa nayo ya mambo ya misitu, ile caveat ilikuwa imewekwa, tumeiondoa ili tuendelee na kupata products kutoka kwa misitu yetu lakini kwa njia ya taratibu na njia ya uangalifu.
The head of state eulogized Chepkwony as a hard-working, friendly and focused man who was driven by a genuine concern for the community. Said his administration plans to ensure the country attains universal health coverage.
Na ametuonyesha ya kwamba sio lazima ukue profesa ama ujulikane ili uweze kufanya mambo makubwa.
Mimi ningetaka nipongeze watu wa Njoro kwa kumchagua huyu kiongozi wetu ambaye ni shujaa. Ameonyesha umaarufu sana kwa uongozi wake.
Wanawake wakisimama wakionyesha barabara, hii siasa mingi itakuja kupotea na ukabila utaisha.
Na kama mama aliyechaguliwa kupata mume ambaye anaweza kushika mkono kwa kaunti ambayo haujazaliwa sio jambo rahisi.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Well, the questions surrounding the legality of the new bipartisan talks will be answered tomorrow. This is after the majority leader of the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, and his minority counterpart, Opiyo Wandayi, officially submitted a motion seeking to legalize the talks between Azimio on one side and Kenya Kwanza. And as Abdiaziz Hashim reports, the Speaker, Moses Wetangula, has scheduled the debate of the motion for Wednesday in the afternoon.
24 hours after the dialogue team led by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka of Azimio and his counterpart of Kenya Kwanza Kimani Ichung'wah resolved to file a motion at the Augusta House seeking to legalize the talks. The motion, read by the majority leader and co-sponsored by his minority counterpart Opiyo Wandayi, has stipulated the terms for talks that will run for the next 60 days as stipulated in the motion.
The National Dialogue Committee shall report to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions within 60 days, and after that submit its report to Parliament.
Because it reminds us that every other time this country has basically gone to the precipice, has reached the cliff, it has always pulled back.
Key among them is when the new bipartisan team finalizes its report, it will submit to the leaders of Azimio and Kenya Kwanza as well as Parliament for adoption. Moreover, the committee has resolved to receive memorandums from the public, professional bodies and non-governmental organizations for review and consideration. The motion submitted by the two this afternoon before the members of Parliament will be up for debate on Wednesday afternoon, where the legislators will have their say over the motion.
That motion will be allocated time tomorrow, immediately after your engagement with the Minister for Tourism. It will be the next item on agenda.
Meanwhile, ODM leader Raila Odinga and Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka have maintained they are not interested in any form of power-sharing deals with the Kenya Kwanza alliance.
Tumesema mpaka hii kamati ya Kalonzo na Ichung'wah iangalie ili kila Mkenya awe ni Mkenya, anatambulika kama Mkenya, ana haki kama Mkenya.
And I've told even our friends on the other side, we are not here to waste time. We are not to play games.
This comes as the Attorney General Justin Muturi maintains that whatever the two parties will agree upon, his office will consider their resolutions keenly and ensure they remain within the boundaries of the Constitution.
Zote tuwajibike na tuhakikishe kwamba yale ambayo tunayafanya ni ya kufaidi nchi nzima na wenyeji wake.
All eyes are now on Parliament, with the dialogue team expected to reconvene next Monday at the Bomas of Kenya. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Data Protection Commissioner Immaculate Kasait now says that the data firm Worldcoin ignored orders to seize data collection from our office. Appearing before the National Assembly ICT Committee, Data Commissioner Immaculate Kasait told members of parliament that Worldcoin irregularly mined data from Kenyans. Kasait was, however, at pains to explain why an initial certificate of registration was issued to a company whose activities were banned in America. Here's that report.
Parliamentary investigations on operations of foreign data company Worldcoin continued with Data Protection Commissioner Immaculate Kasait taking the hot seat before the National Assembly ICT Committee.
As the Data Commissioner, do you understand the real intentions of Worldcoin? Why was Worldcoin offering money to people?
Do you think that you exercised reasonable care of duty as an officer of government in how you handled this matter?
When we discovered the processes of Worldcoin and collecting data, we did write to them and asked them, what is your legal basis? One of the things they said, it's a contractual obligation between them and their customers.
The Data Commissioner claiming that Worldcoin was issued with a letter of cease and desist in May 2023, but went on to carry out its data capture activities that entailed scanning irises of those who turned up for registration in exchange for crypto tokens. The lawmakers took Kasait to task for allowing the registration of Worldcoin company, thus exposing Kenyans.
Talking about legitimacy, they were operating under legitimacy. The place of operation is a government facility. That needs clarification. So who is fooling who? Are you saying that the government knew? The government did know? You knew? You gave the letter? You gave the response?
If Worldcoin, without lawful excuse, discloses personal data of Kenyan users in a manner that is incompatible with the purpose for which data has been collected, how does the Kenyan government enforce justice to the rights to right the wrong? How will it do that process?
The information we have with us, they relied on consent and contractual obligation.
A multi-agency investigation is ongoing, with the conclusion expected within 90 days. According to Kasait, investigations done thus far have not ascertained the number of Kenyans whose data was captured by the Worldcoin project. Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki and his information counterpart Eliud Owalo are also expected to appear before Parliament to explain how and why Worldcoin was allowed in the country. Gishuki Washira, Prime Edition.
Well, from Nairobi, let's cross over to us in Gishu. Of course, the Devolution Conference is expected to kick off tomorrow. All systems go. Our reporter, Wycliffe Ochieng, now joins us. Wycliffe, give us a sense of what the pre-conference activities were like today.
Well, Tom, today it was all about, it has been about preparation and also the delegates arriving and registering for this conference. That starts off tomorrow officially, and of course it is President William Ruto who will be opening this conference officially. Being the curtain raiser for the conference, actually, beehive of activities today, right where we are, this is the main hall for tomorrow's conference. But beside this, there has been so many activities at the Kipchoge Keino Stadium. That is where the tug of war, the athletics, and the football match was showcased there. And that has been the center of interest for the better part of the day. There has been the tug of war, like I've mentioned, but now the key interest there was the football match between so many different teams that were involved in those matches. But then the one that really attracted quite a multitude was the match between the Senate and also the Council of Governors. That is the senators versus the governors. Actually, that match ended 3-0 in favor of the Senate, and also the 3 goals were scored by the Mombasa senator, that is Mohamed Faki, and also nominated Senator Rafael Chimera. Another goal was scored by a Senate staff member, and that brought the scoreline to 3-0 in favor of the Senate. Actually, immediately after that, we got the opportunity to speak with some of the leaders there, the senators, the governors, who are, of course, part of the delegation that will be attending this conference tomorrow. And they were so quick to relish this opportunity as a perfect one, actually, to reflect on the 10 years of devolution in terms of the hits and misses. And, of course, they were also quick to pinpoint the need, actually, to fully devolve some of the overlapping devolved functions. That is, in a way, in a move actually to deliver for service delivery completely, or to ensure that service delivery is offered to the citizenry to the last mile. Well, right here, like I've mentioned, this is the main hall, but of course there are some other tents outside here for the subsections, sub-themes tomorrow. And as Team KBC, we are right on the ground actually to keep tabs on what happens here at the main hall and also for those subgroups. And we'll be on the ground actually to update our viewers promptly. For now, let me just hand it back to you, Tom.
Many thanks, Weekly, for Ketch coming to us there from Washington, Gishu. 10 years down the line, have the counties implemented the functions that were reserved for them? Of course, after this first break, on Prime Edition, we'll also be taking a look at the corruption index within the counties. You don't want to go away. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums.
This August on Magical Scenes.
A big number of wildlife migration than there before. It started on the 14th of July.
So I can tell you that the season is looking pretty good.
A combination of wildlife and cultural tourism.
Sasa ni culture yanaonyesha nguo ni ya Maasai.
Magical Sense only on KBC Channel 1.
What a surprise, Mr. Arturo. I thought you had retired from your businesses.
With my businesses, it is possible, but not with my life.
Do you really think that woman actually has any idea who the real father of her son is? Come on, my goodness.
Yes, of course she does. In fact, I'm surprised that you don't know about it, Amparo.
Welcome back. The 2010 Constitution introduced a two-tier system of the governance, giving birth to the 47 county governments. The devolved units were allocated 14 functions, while the national government was allocated 35 functions to oversee and implement. 10 years down the line, the question is, have the county governments implemented those functions that were in fact reserved for them? And if so, to what extent? Gladys Mungai with the details.
The inception of devolution a decade ago saw 14 functions move from the national government to the county level, as articulated in 4th schedule of the Constitution. This was aimed at ensuring services were closer to the people and open development in areas that had previously suffered resource marginalization.
We have really made progress, and the focus now should be on where next for devolution.
So it's an opportunity to review. It's an opportunity to critique what devolution has been able to achieve and what it has not been able to achieve, and now setting the pace for the next 10 years on what devolution should do.
Among the functions distributed to the county governments were county health services, agriculture, cultural activities, public entertainment and amenities, county transport, animal control and welfare, trade development and regulations, county planning and development, pre-primary education, village polytechnics, county public works, control of drugs and pornography, environmental conservation on specific national government policies, and coordination and participation of communities in governance.
What we are doing as a government is doubling our efforts in revenue collection, and we are doing that by closing all the loopholes.
The 14 functions, as spelled out in the Constitution, have so far been funded to a tune of 3.6 trillion shillings. And this begs the question, have the county governments effectively absorbed the funds? Opinion remains divided.
Still fighting with the national government on the rollout of the other devolved functions. There are functions worth about 275 billion, which are still lying in the national government. This year, the counties have been given about 385 billion. So with the 275 billion plus 385, that will be about 600 billion going to the counties, which will do a lot of things that will be done in our counties. So we expect the government to come forward with a plan of rollout of the remaining functions that are supposed to be taken to the county governments.
Well, proponents of devolution argue that the transfer of functions has led to an improvement of service delivery. Others have faulted county bosses for not always factoring in projects of interest to the electorate. The point of departure mainly touching on the implementation of the county health services, transport, agriculture, betting and liquor regulations.
These instructions are so clear. They must work with counties, especially on shared responsibility, like, for example, in agriculture, in health, in water. We must work together because we can't work in silos. National government at that level and ourselves at this level.
The national government has always been at crossroads with counties over the transfer of resources commensurate with the functions allocated, as well as the personnel to ensure efficiency. A case in point being the cause by some healthcare unions for some of the functions to be transferred back to the national government, including employment of healthcare workers.
Sometimes the unions of healthcare professionals would not understand that, and they keep trying to claw back the health function back to the national government. And I think it's about time that we had a sitting and understand the reason why this was devolved in the first place.
In the 2023 Division of Revenue Bill that President William Ruto sent it to in April, the counties received 385 billion shillings as an equitable share of revenue, up from the 370 billion shillings. This year's devolution conference will no doubt reawaken the debate as the government seeks to fully implement the devolution as envisaged by the drafters of the Constitution and endorsed by Kenyans in the 2010 referendum. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Now, a decade since the advent of devolution, the fruits of this form of governance are beginning to be felt, with a majority of Kenyans enjoying access to government services. However, the big C, corruption, remains a major bottleneck in efficient service delivery. Several county bosses have found themselves in court on allegations of looting from the public coffers. As county and national government administrators convene in Eldoret for that annual devolution conference that we spoke about earlier on, Nancy Okware examines the corruption threat that remains a challenge in full implementation of devolution.
The start of devolution in 2013 was seen as the silver bullet in delivering services closer to the people and spurring development at the grassroots level. However, 1 year after the start of the devolved system of governance, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, in its Corruption and Ethics Survey report released in 2014, painted a picture of graft cases in the counties. The report listed more than half of the counties at 26 out of the 47 counties reporting cases of graft, with most cases attributed to systemic failures, lack of watertight control mechanisms, and ignorance of mwananchi in holding leaders accountable. Lawyer Kidi Mwaga, in examining the war on graft in counties in the last decade, says a lot more can be done to police resources at the grassroots.
There are instances we have seen interventions by the EACC, but it is also imperative that we tell the people of Kenya that it is incumbent upon them to make sure that they constantly remain active as a citizenry. Because when they are active, when they are able to hold the leaders accountable, then they are able to disrupt the corrupt networks within the devolved units.
In 2021, a report by the anti-graft body continued to paint a picture of continued corruption in the counties. The areas of concern listed as bribery, nepotism, embezzlement and mismanagement of public resources. According to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission survey of 2021, Narok County topped the list, where one is likely to be asked to pay a bribe at 31.7%, followed by Elgeyo Marakwet at 31.3%, Nakuru at 29.3%, Kisii at 28.5%, Kirinyaga at 25.9%, Kakamega at 25.1%, Wajir at 25.1%, and Kiambu at 25%. The report further highlighted little confidence among stakeholders for governors to fight corruption and unethical practices. At least 5 former governors have been taken to court on charges of corruption and abuse of office.
Judiciary has done a good job. The office of the DPP must make sure that the files they take to court, that people they charge are people they have investigated. They know that the evidence is watertight. They know that when they take this evidence before a judge or before a magistrate, that at the very least they will get a conviction.
He notes that there is a need to eliminate middlemen who catalyze graft by hijacking county government operations.
These capture elite usually capture the governor, they capture the assembly, they capture the procurement process infrastructure within the county. These few people then begin to dictate, what will happen or what will not happen. So disrupting these capture elites within the counties is something we must seriously think about as we mark 10 years of devolution.
10 years on, he says all is not lost.
Devolution was a silver bullet, but it can be made better. There are a few gaps still, like the question of responsibilities and funds, that we must do. We must make sure that funds follow functions.
And as county and national government administrators convened for the devolution conference this week, part of the agenda will be to deliberate on good governance for equitable and sustainable development in a bid to deliver services and realize the devolution dream. Despite corruption being a major challenge in the counties, experts are of the opinion that devolution can still be salvaged if proper mechanisms are put in place to fight graft, as well as ensure effective service delivery. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Young entrepreneurs will now have an opportunity to participate in a business TV reality show to showcase their innovations, pitch business ideas for funding, as well as undergo skills development training. The reality show, dubbed The Eagle's Nest, is a brainchild of 5 government entities. It's aimed at providing opportunities for youth to showcase their innovation, but be equipped also with necessary skills and networks for the sustainability of their businesses.
The Eagle's Nest program will provide a platform for youth aged between 18 to 35 years to showcase their innovation, share knowledge, learn and connect with potential investors. State Department for Labor Skills Development Principal Secretary Geoffrey Kaituko, speaking at a meeting on the Eagle's Nest program, said the program will provide an opportunity for youth to learn and network and be trained on ways to ensure their businesses survive beyond the first year of establishment.
Time has come 60 years after independence for us to shift the way we think and educate and train young people in this country. Because the old model is no longer working.
Youth Enterprise Development Fund Chief Executive Officer Josiah Moriaso called upon the youth to embrace skills development trainings as their future.
We are trying to craft a program that seeks to reduce the unemployment among the young people of this country.
500 youth who will qualify in the initial stages will undergo a 28-day training at the Manu Chandaria Innovation Hub at Kenyatta University. The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation Acting Managing Director Samuel Maina said the program is in line with KBC's mandate to inform, entertain and educate, and offers an opportunity for youth-centered fresh content as well as a platform for young people to engage in self-employment and entrepreneurship.
We connect them to the market. The market is the investors and even sometimes government who would like to support the younger people, but they don't know where they are.
The reality show is a partnership between the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Kenyatta University, Kenya Industrial Property Institute, and the Youth Enterprise Development Fund. This program has been termed timely as it seeks to give the youth a chance to put into practice their talents and skills in different job markets.
And the goal of this program is to empower the youth so that they can become employable and productive.
This comes as a wake-up call to youth to take part in this program. Who will be the next millionaire in town? Only time will tell. Reporting for KBC Channel 1, I am Frederick Parsayo.
Cheza Loto Moto.
Kwa majina naitwa Nick Wenwa, mtaa yangu ni Ngong. Loto nimekuwa nikicheza sasa ni miezi 3, mwakisha at least kwa siku kucheza kama mara 2 hivi. Kwa hivyo unaweza wasihi mzidi kucheza na muendelee kucheza hilo Loto Moto. Watu wanashinda.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number weka 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000. Lipa kisha subiri draw.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums.
Nilikuwa sitaki kuongeza ugomvi kati yako na mkewe.
My word is final and she knows that.
Nikifa utapumzika.
Mbona unasema hivyo mama?
Mtipili mimi sikipendi hichi chumba na niliapa kuwa sitawahi kukiingia tena.
Uweza pigania ndoa yako.
Mwishowe siri zote zitatoboka tu. Yaani kitu wewe nikuulize, wamdai ule? Wamdai Lea?
Ingo FM fans in Kakamega, are you ready? Ingo FM and Y254 have organized a Meet the Fans tour on 25th and 26th August 2023. On Friday, 25th August, join us at Butere Boys High School, where the Baraza Foundation has organized sports activities including a football match pitting Kakamega Homeboys versus Butere combined. In the evening, join us as we witness the crowning of Mr. and Miss Butere live from Charlie 037 Resort. These events will be covered by Y254 and Ingo FM. On Saturday, 26th August, our team shall visit Noah Yale Children's Home, where we shall donate dignity packs. And the climax of our Kakamega tour will be the launch of Ingo FM Mashabi Club at Bondeni Primary School. Don't miss out. All are welcome.
It is time for business, and Betty Kiptum, over to you.
Thank you very much, Tom. Of course, time to get the latest in the world of business. My name, as he said, is Betty Kiptum. Now, the government says it has not reintroduced fuel subsidies on petroleum products, contrary to widespread media reports. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority says its decision to tap the Petroleum Development Levy was to stabilize pump prices and cushion Kenyans from further spikes in the cost of living. EPRA Director General Daniel Kipto says without tapping the fund, a litre of super petrol would have retailed at 202 shillings and 1 cent and 183 shillings and 26 cents per litre of diesel and 175 shillings and 22 cents per litre of kerosene.
The media has been awash with reports that the government has reverted back to the fuel subsidy program, which was removed early this year. This follows the monthly energy prices report by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority that said that the government has been forced to tap into the fuel development levy to stabilize the local retail price of the commodity. IPRA Director General Daniel Kipto says the reports are untrue. Kipto says IPRA has resulted in using fuel stabilization through the Petroleum Development Levy to anchor fuel prices for the month of August and September. Kipto says this is the fund that the government tapped to stabilize pump prices and cushion Kenyans from the high cost of living. IPRA says the fund is a stopgap measure to deal with the runaway fuel prices and tame inflation. Last night, IPRA announced that the price of fuel will remain unchanged despite a surge in the cost of crude in the international market. According to IPRA, the average cost of imported fuel increased in July by 64% for super petrol, 4.29% for diesel, and 7.41% for kerosene. Without the subsidy, the prices of super petrol would have gone up by 7 shillings and 33 cents per litre for super petrol, 3 shillings and 59 cents per litre for diesel, and 5 shillings and 74 cents per litre for kerosene. Kipto explained that oil marketers will be reimbursed for the differences from the Petroleum Development Fund.
And the government has picked the Cooperative Bank to operationalize the direct settlement system at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. The system, modelled along the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation, will help in expediting payments to coffee farmers and producers. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has said the payment system will hasten the release of farmers' earnings and is among a raft of reforms that include reintroducing the Coffee Board that will regulate the subsector.
Plans to develop and actualize a seamless payment system at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange have been on the card for some time now as part of the reforms being undertaken in the coffee value chain. Under the new platform, farmers will receive their sale proceeds under the direct settlement system, a departure from the current system where payment services are handled by multiple players. The direct settlement system will see farmers receive prompt payment for their cherry sold at the auction.
Capital Markets has approved the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, which is a duly licensed commercial bank regulated by Central Bank of Kenya, to provide DSS.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the subsector is riddled with underhand dealings that may force the government to set aside funds to mitigate against potential losses due to missed bean sales.
We will not give in to blackmail. These brokers and cartels will not hold the government at ransom. No, it will not happen. It will not happen. And we are prepared to put a fund aside to cushion the farmer in this period when we are struggling with these people.
Speaking during the reopening of the Nairobi Coffee Exchange that has been on a 3-month recess, the Deputy President said a minimum guarantee price for coffee will be formulated to protect farmers from fluctuating coffee prices and exploitation.
Mulisema munataka Coffee Board of Kenya ile nasimamia wakulima irudi. Si ndio tulikubaliana? Tulisema tufufue KPCU. Ndio isaidie wakulima mambo ya milling so that we can avoid milling losses na ukora mambo ya grading.
This comes at a time when the Capital Markets Authority has cleared 3 additional cooperatives to trade at the floor of the Nairobi Coffee Exchange.
So it will be painful for everybody. For the marketers, it will be painful. For rogue society officials, it will be painful. But all that pain is worth it. The final beneficiary of that pain is the coffee farmer in the Republic of Kenya.
The Coffee Research Institute will also get additional funding for seed development and extension services in a bid to increase production per bush from 3 kilos to 30 kilos in the short term. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
And retirees will now receive their benefits from the National Social Security Fund within 24 hours after filing the claim. NSSF plans to digitize its services in order to allow beneficiaries to access the services online.
Following the implementation of the new NSSF Act and Finance Act of 2023 that took effect on July 1st, employees will be deducted 6% of their monthly salary, with employers contributing an additional 6% to bring to a total of 12%. The NSSF Managing Director David Koros says the fund is working to ensure benefit payment is processed in a timely manner and that expenditure costs drop to 1% within 1 to 2 financial years.
We'll make sure in the not so distant future, benefits will be paid within 24 hours of launching of the claim if all documentation is right, and we'll spare no effort to ensure that we have all the documents beforehand.
He says the company has been able to process and make payments of 1.9 billion shillings to pensioners in the month of July. He urged members with unclaimed benefits to claim them as soon as possible.
We've cleared all the backlog. We paid around 42,000 pending or cases that have been pending, over 42,000. In fact, it's 42,652 to be exact. Those have been paid.
The fund projects to grow its portfolio to over 600 billion shillings by 2026 through registration of new members.
And Equity Group Holdings Tuesday reported an 8% rise in first half net profit to 26 billion shillings from 24 billion shillings recorded over a similar period last year. Equity Chief Executive Dr. James Mwangi says the group increased its loan loss provision by 89% to 6.3 billion to cover would-be risks, as the lender increased its loan book by 26% to 817 billion shillings, targeting the retail borrowers and small enterprises.
Income increased by 17% to 46.4 billion shillings on account of strong returns from government securities, where the bank invested 485.6 billion shillings in treasury bills and bonds.
And yield on interest earning asset from 9.7 all the way to 10.7, showing the sustainability of the model.
The bank also saw a 42% jump in non-funded income to 35.7 billion shillings. Equity Group CEO James Mwangi said the growth in income has been boosted by trade missions to the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as other subsidiaries that have pushed the trade, finance and forex trading from cross-border deals.
Almost 50% of the entire balance sheet of the group is now outside the Kenya banking subsidiary.
So far, subsidiaries BCDC, Uganda, Rwanda and Tanzania accounted for 12.1 billion shillings of profits, meaning that almost half of its balance sheet is now outside of Kenya. During the period under review, the lender has, however, had to increase loan loss provisions from 3.3 billion shillings to 6.3 billion shillings to increase coverage in case of a default.
In light of that ratio you're seeing of 9.8% is likely to remain sticky in that period, and because of that we would like to keep our cost of risk high so that we take up coverage.
The bank says it has managed loan portfolios through diversification in different markets and through credit risk guarantees from development finance institutions. The bank's loan book jumped 26% to 817.2 billion shillings from 650.6 billion shillings. Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
And that's the business news this evening. Sports news is coming up with Bernard Okumu after a quick break. And my name is Betty Kiptum. Do have yourself a lovely night. Bye-bye.
Vijana chapakazi wenye nguvu za ziada.
My youth, uko na talent ya kusing, spoken word, kucompose jingles ama any other unexploited artistic talent. Gava through Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy na KBC sasa wame come up na project ya kupromote usanii called Studio Mashinani. Hizi ni studios ziko grassroots and they are fitted with high quality state-of-the-art equipment where you can produce quality audio and video music content for free. What's more, wana offer mentorship na talanta yako itakuwa promoted on KBC Channel 1 TV, Y254 na radio stations za KBC. Tembelea Studio Mashinani huko Comarox, Langata, Sauti House Mombasa, Kirwara huko Gatanga, Kitui next to Manyanyoni Chiefs Camp na Kisumu City wako hapo KBC station. Usilalie talent. This is your chance to commercialize and popularize your talent through Studio Mashinani.
She hasn't just taken this title, she's absolutely obliterated the whole field. 352.96.
It's a big stage, big names and big expectations. An immersive celebration of athleticism. More than 2,000 athletes from over 200 countries will compete in 49 events. Drawing inspiration from past memorable outings, Team Kenya is looking ahead for a remarkable feat in the forthcoming World Athletics Championship in Budapest, Hungary in Central Europe. Witness the wonders from Budapest, Hungary on 19th through to the 27th of August, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Well, and time for sports indeed. I'm Bernardo Kumu, and we begin with hockey, where the national women's hockey team's preparations for the Paris 2024 Olympic qualifiers are set to be held in October and November in Pretoria, South Africa, have been boosted after they received a 3 million shilling sponsorship from the National Olympic Committee of Kenya. Now, NOC Secretary General Francis Mutuku says that the committee is determined to ensure that teams which are preparing for next year's Olympic Games get the necessary financial support.
The Kenya national women's hockey team today received a major financial boost as they prepare to take part in the Paris 2024 Olympic qualifiers after they received a 3 million shilling sponsorship from the National Olympics Committee of Kenya.
Today is a happy day for us. Much has been given to us, and as we all know, to whom much is given, much is expected. So we want to put our best foot forward and show value for money, show our worth, and also just appreciate what NOC has done for us.
The Paris 2024 Olympic qualifiers will be held between October the 29th and 5th of November this year in Pretoria, South Africa.
The focus is in the preparation stage. Based on the performance of last year's Commonwealth Games and through the technical analysis, we feel the Kenya women's hockey team has very good chances if they prepare well, if they are given the necessary support to be able to qualify for Olympics.
The committee has also promised to give the team technical support, which includes hiring of strength and conditioning coaches, mentor coaches, as well as sports physiologists.
It's a dream come true for us. We've been preparing for the qualifiers, but now this is giving us even more motivation towards it. I think it's the first ever since this crop of players started playing hockey, so it's a dream come true for us.
Meanwhile, the National Hockey Holiday Training Camp for primary and secondary school kids commenced today at the City Park grounds.
Tukifuatilia mpangilio kama huu, tunaona kwamba education ya the athletes from the young age inakuwa very stable, inakuwa kwamba ile vitu, the technical na tactical aspect ya game anaelewa mapema.
The program is part of the National Holiday Sports Camp program, which was launched yesterday by the Ministry of Sports in conjunction with the Ministry for Education, and will run until 19th of this month.
Well, and the second batch of the Kenya National Athletics team that will fly this country's flag at the World Athletics Championships will head to Budapest tonight ahead of the championship set to begin this Saturday. Now, the second batch consists of a group of 38 athletes and officials, with the two remaining groups of Team Kenya set to leave on the 17th and 22nd, respectively. The 9-day championship will begin with the final of the men's 20-kilometer race walk on Saturday, and we'll also have the 10,000 meters women's final held on the same day. On the last day of the global event, the finals of the men's marathon, the men's 5,000 meters, the women's 800 meters, women's 3,000 meters steeplechase, and the men's javelin throw will be held. At the last World Championship in Oregon, Kenya managed to collect just 10 medals, 2 gold, 5 silver, and 3 bronze medals, finishing 4th overall behind USA, Ethiopia, and Jamaica. Well, and Spain beat Sweden 2-1 to reach their first Women's World Cup final in a dramatic finish in Auckland. Captain Olga Cameron scored an 89th minute winner to spark wild scenes of jubilation among their supporters at Eden Park. Sweden, who have now lost back-to-back World Cup semi-finals, had equalized through Rebecca Blomqvist just 93 seconds earlier, and it looked like the match will be going to extra time. A game of few chances had sparked into life when substitute Salma Paruelo gave Spain the lead with just 10 minutes remaining. They will face England for hosts Australia in the final in Sydney on Sunday.
drama in Auckland. Spain win it by 2 goals. Beautifully brought down by Hermoso. Tempting cross again. Parayula!
Well, that's more like it on tonight's sports edition on Channel 1 Sports. But remember that KBC channel will be showing the World Athletics Championship beginning this Saturday. And Kenya is also gunning for, or rather Africa at large is gunning for its first medal in the 100 meters men's final. That's how we end it. And Bernardo Kumo, thank you for watching. But remember that the scorecard is right up next with Marie Yambo and O'Brien Kimani. Back to you, Tom.
That's right. Many thanks, Okumu. Many thanks to Betty Kiptum and the entire Prime Edition team for putting together this bulletin on a day that India commemorated its 77th Independence Day with vibrant celebrations held right here in Nairobi. As Okumu mentioned, scorecard is coming up next. But first, the Kenyan coast is covered by over 61,000 hectares of mangroves, a rich biodiversity considered a carbon sink. Why? Because of its ability to absorb large and huge quantities of carbon dioxide, subsequently decreasing its effect on the environment. As the African Climate Summit kicks off from the 4th all the way to the 6th of September this year, focusing on solutions for climate change, Sarafina Robi's report is the one we leave you with that highlights the importance of the mangroves and why the ecosystem should be conserved. My name is Mboya. Good night and enjoy the rest of your viewing.
In the virgin waters of the Indian Ocean, the mangroves spread out magnificently, accentuating the beauty of the coastline. They are a beauty to behold. This is just but part of over 61,000 hectares of mangroves that inhabit the Kenyan coastline. Over the years, they have been exposed to extreme dangers threatening their natural existence. Mangroves, which take over 10 years to grow to maturity, are considered as carbon sinks due to their ability to store carbon, clearing it from the air. A small section of the mangroves is estimated to absorb 10 times of carbon dioxide, as much as other forests on land. To the chagrin of nature, they are destroyed, causing an imbalance in the ecosystem and extreme climate changes. According to Conservation International, here are a few facts about mangroves. Mangroves may help fight coral bleaching, but they are far from immune to its effects. Mangroves store more carbon than terrestrial forests. Mangroves help fight climate change. It's better to revitalize than replant mangroves. Mangroves have carbon hoarding issues. The Chief Conservator of Forest in Kenya, Alex Lemarkoko, emphasizes the importance of conserving the mangroves.
They also provide the protection against the tides that oftenly impact on the seashores. But more importantly, they also provide as a baseline and a source of food security for the coastal communities and also nationally.
The Kenya Forest Service Rangers have also taken up the duty to sensitize communities on the importance of conserving the mangroves.
Wafurahie mazingira ya mkoko na waeke nguvu zaidi katika kuhifadhi mkoko, kwani huo unatuhifadhi na majanga ya kiulimwengu, na sisi tuhifadhi msitu kwa sababu tunahitaji kesho pia.
As the Africa Climate Summit, scheduled for 4th to 6th of September this year, draws near, clarion calls are being made to ensure the mangroves are at the center of solution-based discussions in order to conserve the golden effect at the coasts. Sarafina Robi for Prime Edition.